Hi, this is Alpha from Money Made Simple, and welcome to another video of tools tips. This video will look at insurance. We all pay a lot of insurance. There's insurance for nearly everything: house, contents, car, health, life, pet, oh, you name it, landlord. It goes on and on and on. And one of the things that is often occurs, I see in clients' expenses, is that they're overinsured. Or they're not completely aware of where their insurance is, if they actually need to claim. What are the conditions really that they're looking at? And for insurance, I would definitely recommend going to someone who's a risk specialist, either a financial planner or someone who specializes in risk or insurance. This is more just to give you an indication of what there is and what questions to ask, so that you're a bit more informed and aware of the terminology before you actually have those conversations. In terms of insurance as well, it's quite common. Like your premium is linked to the amount that you're insured for, obviously, and the more you're insured for, the higher your premium. Once a year, whenever I get my renewal from the insurance company that I have my personal insurances with, I have a look at what I'm insured for. I look at the things that have happened in my world over the year. Have I paid off some debt? Have I, do I no longer need something? My daughter's needs may change. She's finished childcare, she's in school, all that kind of thing. Because the actual amounts that you've based the previous premium on may not be viable anymore. So just as an example, for 2021, I ended up saving, I think it was almost $40 a month, because I reduced my cover, because in 2020 we paid off a house. My daughter went from childcare, so I didn't have childcare fees anymore, to school. So things had changed in a pretty substantial way. So that enabled me to reduce my insurance covers quite a bit. In addition to all of the house, contents, car, etc. insurances, from a personal insurances perspective, I choose to have life, TPD, which is total and permanent disability cover. And I have a buyback option for that. If I make a claim, I can still buy back to keep the cover. And also have trauma. Trauma is the only one that really covers you for things like cancer. And it is very traumatic, which is obviously why they call it trauma cover. So they're the three that I have. I used to have income protection insurance as well. I tend to self-insure, to be honest, in that space more now than previously, partly because that insurance is quite expensive, and the limitations on the payouts have become tighter and tighter. So I've chosen to go a different path, which is self-insuring is an option, but you just have to be aware that and disciplined enough to put money aside. So, for instance, even the premiums, if you continue to put what you were putting in premiums aside, that may actually get you to the goal over years. So anyway, for right now though, I'm gonna share my screen and take you through take you through a calculator on, again, the Money Smart website that actually looks at life insurance and the things to consider. And these are the things, obviously in a lot more detail, that the companies and a financial planner will ask you in order to ascertain what level of cover you should have. So we'll just assume that you have a partner, a spouse, let's also assume you have children. So let's just say two. You might have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. And then let's see, so they're asking, what do you need it for? And to be honest, probably everything in the first instance. So you want it for funerals. Funerals are expensive. We'll come to that. Paying off a mortgage, because you don't want, once you pass, especially if it's prematurely and you're still sort of relatively young, you don't want to have the burden of paying off a house on your spouse. Money worries are bad enough, let alone having to do it when you're grieving. So again, not a pleasant thing to think about, but you do this once and then maybe in detail, and then you maybe review it, tweak it, think about it, and you just know it's sorted, it's put to a side. You're like, yeah, I got that done. My details are with a financial planner. My spouse has the policy number and all the information, and now I can relax and not even think about it again and just focus on living. So it's a necessary thing to go through. It's like putting a will together. You do it more or less once, and then you might only need to review it, tweak it down the track. So we'll continue. Funeral costs. had to organise a funeral not that long ago, and it was expensive. So I'm going to say 15,000 for a pretty average one, to be honest. So they're not cheap. Home value, at the moment, the values of homes are going through the roof. So let's just say 750,000. That's quite a bit, and it probably isn't for some people as well. So let's be semi-conservative. In terms of how much is owed on there, let's just say 450,000. Let's say that your family wants to keep the house, and any other kind of debt. There's a few different things you can list it out. I would just put it all under one umbrella. Let's just say maybe 60,000 if there's a car and a personal loan and maybe student loans. Who knows? So we'll keep it as that. Average cost of education, again, this depends if it's private or public. I'm just going to say 10,000, to be honest. Just that obviously can reduce, and the calculator automatically extrapolates that out for the length of time that your child will need to be in school. So you don't have to do anything further there. And living costs. This might be a nice addition. So it's not just about paying off like the chunks you might want for a year following your passing, maybe even 2 years. And if you think about living costs a month, let's just be relatively conservative here and say 4,000. This is to cover anything in addition to what's already been considered, so like mortgages and other loans and education. So 4,000 should provide a pretty nice buffer. Assets. So this will look at what you've got in your super. This is a bit arbitrary at the moment, but let's just be really conservative and say 100,000, and let's just say maybe there's 20,000 sitting in savings. It can be anything really. Let's just assume no investment properties, other investments, like shares. Let's just say maybe 10,000, and other assets like jewelry, cars, all that sort of thing. So let's just say 50,000, and then. Okay, and you also adjust for inflation. So 2.5% is probably a pretty average rate for inflation, which is the cost of money that goes up every year. An interest rate of 3% is it's pretty conservative, to be honest. So we'll just leave that there at the moment. But what it's saying is that life insurance cover should be around 655,000. So if you have a look at the policy, which might be in your super fund, you might have it outside. If it's in your super fund, just have a look and see how much you're insured for. It's very common for people to be overinsured, but it's equally possible that you could even be underinsured. And this is something that I suggest reviewing every year, just because, like I said, life events will happen. You may take out a loan to buy a home, or you could pay off some debt, or things may change, and you don't want to be paying extra insurance if you don't need to. It's not a thing that I think any of us really wants to pay, but we know we need to. So yeah, it's a really quick and easy way sometimes to save money. Like I said, after literally a quick review of my annual statement, I was like, oh no, I don't need that anymore. That can go down, and I saved just over $40 a month. So it can add up. So that's life insurance. Like I said, I would suggest having like a proper discussion with a professional about your insurances, because there's a lot of fine print. They'll also look into medical histories and things like that, and it's well worth the fees that you do pay for that. It's worthwhile getting it right. So I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, just go to my website, www.money-madesimple.com.au, and you can send me a message through the contact us page.